Hi, my name is Cara Miller, and welcome to Trailblazers, a celebration of people of color who've achieved extraordinary things. The next miracle, maybe not in terms of time, but in terms of what happened, was you doing all of these wonderful movies. What was that like, working on Harry Potter with all those child actors and all that amazing CG? Tell me.
You know, when I left home, I was a child. I'm still a child at heart. And in my heart, you know, I'm a child. Yeah. And to work with all those great actresses and actors, you know, Emma Thompson, Academy Award winner, you know, we just there, like, it's all of us just like in kindergarten, you know. I know people like Michael Gambon and Ray Fiennes and all these people, you know, and to know, but I'm still that boy on the beach, you know, you see.
Your mother was a Nigerian princess.
That's right.
That's right. So how was your childhood so different from hers? Why was it?
Well, I was one of the, I think, maybe 10,000 children in Britain of African parents who ended up privately fostered.
And who was your foster mother? Who was the person taking care of you?
She was a fairly elderly white lady who lived in West Sussex, and she had decided to take me in because she was in love with a book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. And that's sort of all she knew about black people. So she'd read that book, and there's a character in it called Topsy, and she wanted her own Topsy. So that's how the whole thing came about.
When you saw black people, did you feel a sense of, oh, I belong there, or did you feel a little bit of distance?
I think there was a huge amount of confusion when I was small, because I think when I was like 3 and 4, I would actually cry if a black person came too close to me. Apart from my mother, I don't think I realized I was black.
Was the Nigeria you visited when you were 6 what you expected?
It was nothing like it. You know, when I was told I was going to Nigeria, it felt like a death sentence. You know, my foster family was sort of, you know, giving me special meals and buying me stuff, because it's almost as though I was going to my death, going to Nigeria for that Christmas. And I remember on the plane there, I was given some food, and I actually said to my mother, "Is this lion meat?" Because I thought Africa is all like lions and tigers chasing you, cannibals cooking each other in cauldrons, and people starving to death, and naked.
Naked.
And when I arrived, I couldn't believe that people were wearing clothes. I mean, it was just nothing like, I couldn't believe I was in Africa. I thought, wow, there are shops and there are like people in clothes.
What was it like for you to win a Bafta? 2 Baftas even.
Well, you know, I don't really think about it like that. I think that, you know, winning awards is great on the night that you win them, because you meet all of these fantastic people. And it was, I think, to be fair, is much more important to have worked with Tony Garnett. He's the exec producer of The Cops, for which the Bafta was ultimately won. Bafta is fine, it's great, get it, move on.
When did you first feel that you had to know who your ancestors were, your African ancestors?
I first became interested in the African side when I was at school, and one of my teachers said to me, said to the class actually, that the only thing that came out of Africa was nothing. She said it was called the Dark Continent for that reason. And she said that was until Livingstone came along, David Livingstone, the explorer. And I think it was then that I realized that I needed to do a bit of my own research to sort of find out about the truth of that statement. Because one thing I was very clear about was that my ancestors came out of Africa. I was black. Every day I would look in the mirror. I would see somebody with African features. Never mind the name, Paul Crooks, European in origin, but I was very clear about my features and where they originated from. So when this teacher said that to me, I realized that, you know, I had to do a bit of my own sort of research, but I didn't do it immediately. That sort of kicked off much later in life.
What kind of upbringing did you have?
I grew up alone with my father.
You said alone with your father. Was he very encouraging of you?
One day, I came home on a Monday from Grenada Boys Secondary School, where I went to school, and he said to me, "Boy, I'm sending you to England." And on a Wednesday morning, about 3 o'clock in the moonlight, with a suitcase, he escorted me down to the quayside in St. George's, got on a small boat, And my mother, I'd gone to tell my mother on a Monday evening, about 3 miles away from there. I took my bike and I went to tell my mother that my father was sending me to England. And she said, who are you going to in England? Who you know anybody in England? I said, I'm going to talk to Mr. Harris. So she went up to talk to my father. And she got outside the house. She said, Mr. Harris, I heard you sending the boy to England. Yeah, I'm shipping him away like a bunch of bananas. My father's a real Bajan man.
Yeah. I have a question about your parents and this dream of making films and becoming a director. So your two parents, where do they come from?
They're from Jamaica.
They're from Jamaica. When you told them, Mom, Dad, I'm going to be a director, how was that received?
Well, you know, I think that for my mom it was a bit tough because she really wanted to be, well, I wanted to be a journalist for a short time, and she really wanted me to be a newsreader. She wanted me to be like Trevor McDonald. That was the role, because he was there, he'd already done it. That shows that there was a path that one could follow and achieve as a black person. And so she had it kind of mapped out in her head. Whereas for direction, there was no path. There were neither black UK directors working in a commercial sense.
You had this great career in London. I mean, you were doing the whole Marie Claire, the whole Telegraph, the whole Vogue thing in various different parts of the world. Then you went to New York.
Yeah.
What drew you to become a celebrity interviewer?
Well, I think some of it stemmed from my childhood and teenage years when music became more and more important to me. I was obsessed, especially with hip hop when that was sort of first coming out, in England anyway, in the early 80s and mid 80s. And that was kind of like my link to black culture, really. That's my only link, like, you know, I had this huge record collection. So then I sort of thought it would be amazing to actually meet these people. I mean, it sounded like a complete dream, but I thought I'm going to try and make it happen. So the first one was Nina Simone, and I saw a poster saying that she was performing in London, and I somehow got hold of her manager's phone number and said, you know, hi, my name's Precious Williams, I'd like to interview Nina Simone. I mean, this, you know, he should have just put the phone down, but...
What did you find?
Right, what did I find? Okay, leaving aside what the elders told me and sort of, you know, going right the way back, I managed to find my fourth great-grandmother, and I managed to find a third great-grandfather. My fourth great-grandmother's name was...
When you say fourth, you mean like
great-great-great-great-grandmother. And her name was Ammi Jabba Brown. The Brown got attached when she was obviously taken from Africa and put on a plantation in Jamaica.
Before we finish, I want to ask you what you would say to a person who wanted to follow in your footsteps, if they wanted to be a director or a writer?
Okay, I always say the same thing. If you want to be a writer, you have to just write. Just write. Just start writing. Get your pen, get your paper, get your laptop. No one can stop you writing, and you just must keep writing all of the time. But direction's a bit harder. It's a bit more difficult because you need more people when you're trying to direct something. So, but the advice is the same. Get your team together, get your people together, and start making films. Going to film school is very good, it's very interesting, it's a great education, but really you just need to start making films.
If you had 30 seconds to tell a young person how they could stay longer in the ring, how they could make their dreams a reality, what would you say?
You know, people ask me that all the time, and I give the same answer. You have the birthright to be here. The world is yours. You know, the world is what you make it. You know, don't waste the oxygen. Utilize it. Give something back. You know, and your life will be rich.
George, thank you very, very much.
It's a pleasure.